What sport just legalized marijuana? Is that the MLB?
There's an actual sport
I think
that did that?
it's basketball, and it's like the 3-on-3. It's not even the real basketball. It's like the
like junior level or whatever.
No,
not even the junior level. It's like the one that's like, I think, sponsored by Ice Cube or something. I don't know, man.
What the heck? Who is Ice Cube?
You don't know who Ice
Oh,
Cube is?
Ice Cube, the dude?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just like, that's a company that only sells ice?
Yeah,
perhaps?
Yeah, they're really big into it.
Well, that's hilarious.
Do you have like a little remote?
I don't.
Oh, it was nice.
It could have been either.
I definitely was
You
basketball.
can bunt with a blunt.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Do you have a little camera or a remote so you just be like, and we're live?
No, I wish. That would be super nice.
They made those in the 70s, dude. I can get you a manual.
Oh, no.
You literally just
I
tape
could get
it
a
to the
remote.
side of
I
the
just don't
camera,
have
and then it
one
clicks
or
the button.
Sounds
one.
like you're going to that antique mall way too much, dude.
I haven't been since the last time I tried to get y'all to go.
Enough about Austin's fucking private life.
You're all welcome to come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week.
Oh, holy cow, are we doing it?
Yeah,
Welcome
we're finally doing it.
to skeptical fellas talking about multiple sticks and
That did not flow as well as you
and
wanted.
melon. I'm tired.
Hey, don't worry. We all
It's
are.
been a long diddly day.
Well,
As you can see, Jesse's definitely changed his look a lot.
yeah.
Jesse
I
slimmed
shaved.
down a lot.
Yeah, shaved his. I think it's the haircut, dude, that really does it. Yeah.
Yeah, and now I
It
don't like
makes
trucks
you look
anymore.
so much sleeker. Just like
Yeah, like who am I?
it's like you're the sport edition of yourself.
I stopped eating for 7 weeks.
Whoa.
Oh, there you go.
That's really weird.
That's how you got
Lost
that
all my
svelte
muscle
frame.
mass.
yeah. I could see that. Science.
Dude, now those headphones fit more comfortably. That must be nice.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm less distractible.
Yeah, there you go.
And you've stopped smoking Juuls? Yeah.
Well, hey, you know, I've taken up marijuana. Let me go get that pipe.
I've taken
Actually,
up more Juuls.
Actually, at this point, I would have been just like watching you guys talk about this topic and then getting high and not looking at the screens.
There you go. There you go.
My favorite pastime.
Lead us into the topic, Patrick.
Well, okay, how about
This
this?
is your favorite.
Imagine
You're not Jesse?
His
and then
middle name
that's
is
when the
Patrick.
spooky moment goes, you know? The spookiness happens, and it's just like, what happened to Jesse? And it's like,
wait.
actually,
We just
The
never
lights.
acknowledge him ever again.
The
it's
lights
like we
cut.
wrote him out of the fucking
A
TV show.
dark blue light below the map turns on, and then we like a smoke machine.
He was just talking
starts
too
up.
offensive, so the higher ups were just kind of like, all right, and then just put this guy in place, and we'll keep going on. Pretend
Since
like
the
nothing happened.
podcasts aren't uploaded yet, just put like
Have
a
you
nice
seen
black
those-
bar in front of Jeff.
Have you all been getting those ads on YouTube right now where it's like, oh yeah, it's for Monster, I think. I think it's because I'm applying for jobs, but
Oh, I know.
it's a Monster ad where it's like, oh, I'm applying for jobs. I won't be here much longer. And the coworker's like, sure. And then he looks up and they're gone. It's a different person. That's what just happened.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, all of a sudden there.
I've got family dinner.
So imagine that you're a Native American.
Okay, I'm there.
Years and years and years ago.
Okay.
I feel
Multiple
the
years
appropriation
ago.
already.
Well.
And I feel right in. Look at me.
That's your only ticket in.
You're just like, at least as long as I'm ethereal, nobody
All
will
right.
know.
But you're a Native American.
Okay.
And there are these things in the woods.
Trees?
Little creatures that you've known about for your entire existence.
Rabbits.
No. These are called stick Indians.
Ooh.
I don't know what. Actually, I have it right here. I think that they have an actual name for it.
Okay, so before you go on that, based on some of the research I've done, they were just like, so we call them stick Indians because apparently if you use their real name, that's a good way to summon them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's Voldemort.
I mean, well, it's like one of those things where it's like your intention.
They
or
who
like
shall
your-
not
Yeah.
be named.
Yeah, so
Uh,
it's like their intention. So
Anyway, so this is mostly in
You
the
ever notice a lot of these
northwestern.
very ethereal, spooky things can't be spoken of?
I mean,
no,
Or
this is
else
the
you
first
would-
one.
No, that was part of the Night Stalker.
Night
well,
Marchers,
they just said the
that
same
one.
thing is that they don't want to like bring about that, Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just lonely. And it's like, hey man,
Well,
come for
they're
some
they're
lemonade.
tricksters. You know, like so they have a lot
Gnomes.
more of exactly.
Low-key
Are you talking about the
low-keys?
ones in?
Yeah.
I mean elves from
Dude, I'm telling you, it's gnomes, man.
Iceland.
Do
I know what you're
gnomes?
talking about, but
Yeah.
Iceland has elves where they actually don't.
Yes.
They
Fuck around with
you
you.
know travel around. They're like, well, we can't go build in there because that's the gnome's house. I mean the elves' place. You're talking about the South American
Yeah.
spooky little.
That's also
Things.
a thing.
Yeah, that is also
I
a
think
thing.
there's subclasses
Of
each
which
other.
we will talk about later at some point.
Did I get the wrong America? What's happening?
South America.
There's just a lot of interconnection.
Yeah, there
Green
is.
America.
It's all part of puzzle piece that's coming together. It's like the Avengers movies, kind of.
just like you're just like, all right, we're gonna have the Stick Indians standalone film and the Night Watcher.
We're working up to the They Who Shall Not Be Named.
You're still stuck
finale.
on this. Let it go.
But okay, so anyway, so there's the northwestern Native American tribes, and I believe I had that up here, which would be
Something with an
the
S.
Salesh and
That
the
one.
Lumi, which I could possibly be absolutely butchering, but basically what it is so there's there's other trickster creatures like in the Appalachians that are called Pukwudgies, and they are
We
very
look like a
similar as
little-
well. Austin, I need you to concentrate on the Pukwudgies. that I'm
How
talking
are you, Jesse, this week?
He's just like the balance is off. He's like, I gotta readjust this. Gotta.
Yeah, just like, do you watch Stranger Things, man?
Yeah, Austin, just come on.
Yeah.
Have you watched Stranger? I don't think you've seen a thing of Stranger Things.
I haven't
have
seen season 2 or anything.
Oh, man.
you? Man, season 2's when I think it actually was like good. I remember watching all of
Or I may have seen season 2 once.
these poor
Screw
people.
it. Why are we talking
I
about
don't
it?
know.
Yeah, go on.
Tell me about the spooky people.
I've been trying.
stick
Anyway,
things.
okay. All right, so they have a counterpart called Pukwudgies in the Appalachians, but then they're known in the Northwest. But anyway, they're basically tricksters, or they do a lot of different things. For the most part, they'll leave you alone if you don't want to talk about them. Get on their land or annoy them, basically.
How do you know when it's their land?
That is a good question. Let's take that up with the village elders.
It's probably just like, old tribal land, forest areas.
I was assuming it was like posted. Like,
No.
Basically,
Pukwudgie land. Do not enter or else curses.
Okay,
yeah.
I feel like it's more like sticks are set up, like the Blair Witch kind of thing.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just
okay.
like
No,
Well, they
I
have-
can feel that.
Yeah. But anyway, the Stick Indians, basically
dig
what they
that.
do is they kind of like prey on like singular individuals, especially if they're lost in the woods.
Oh, that's
It's,
an interesting
Yeah, they
way
have
to worship.
the ability to paralyze, hypnotize, or lead astray.
Oh, that would make it much easier to prey on top of someone.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
They also can make you insane, apparently.
I
didn't
did read that.
See, I
Did
didn't
you?
read that part, but I can believe it. I know that they
I think
just
that's the first source we were provided. I believe
Really?
had that.
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, these malicious spirits, apparently come in many forms. Some of them are like, they're kind of like, I've heard stories of them being kind of like wiry and like, kind of humanoid. And then I've also heard that they're like Sasquatch-esque.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean they're like the size of Sasquatch?
I don't think that. I think that they're. I think they're.
furred.
Yeah, they're small.
Oh.
From what I've gathered.
They have-
I've understood that they're like skeleton-like.
See, that's something because I hear there's so many variations.
So it
of
sounded
that.
like the different groups, tribal groupings, would have different.
Like a
Yeah.
Yeti versus a
Description.
Sasquatch.
There'd be like
I think it's just like
a
it's
smaller
like, it's a little
furred creature, a larger furred creature, a pygmy-esque creature,
stick-like,
a
'cause-
stick thin, creepy kind of furred thing.
Yeah.
a stick thin thing with it looks like it's just flesh, and that's about as far as I got into the last one. But they were talking how there's a ton of different.
Yeah, and like Pukwudgies are kind of the same thing. But like it's interesting because there's like part of them they're like, well, we call them stick Indians because they're kind of like sticky or stick-like,
Right.
And then there's
Call them stick Indians because they get stuck to everything.
Yeah,
you can
they-
find them because they're just covered in leaves.
Yeah, you come out in the morning and they're stuck to the edge of your fucking.
Well, I thought they
teepee
also
or whatever.
stick you with sticks.
Yeah,
too.
that's the other thing.
They're sticky. They're covered in sticks. They get stuck to your porch, and you have to push them off with the broom before
they
they
sit
start
there,
taking
yeah,
parts
no.
of your porch with.
And that's the thing is that if you hurt them or whatever, they'll like hurt you or like I think it's like commonly they'll jab people with sticks.
Well, that does seem in character.
Mm-hmm. So obviously they're real.
Obviously, they're real.
Obviously.
Obviously.
I mean, if people are talking about them and they've been in, see, that's the thing, Native American culture, man. They
Okay,
know stuff.
But do they really, Patrick? I
Yes,
mean,
they do
For the
really.
most part, weren't they just like smoking peyote and like having a
Oh,
good time?
you vastly underestimate. You've been
Okay,
vastly
hear me out,
underestimating
okay?
the
Yeah.
Native American people.
I have a better suggestion than that, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
While people were doing that for spiritual reasons, a trickster with a stick
Goes around and pokes them in the. He's just like, whoa, you better.
and creates the experience of a trickster-like creature that pokes people with sticks.
So basically, they just had like one dick who's just like, I'm sober at this party and I'll make everybody uncomfortable.
I could see
I
that.
100%.
But it just had to happen to all of the
And
Native
then,
American
like-
nations all across the.
Hey man, how much you got to do back then?
Well,
What do you got access to a lot? The
well, I
night,
can't refute
high
that
people
claim.
and sticks.
I feel like we're making it too simple. I think.
That is a decent guess, though, for an origin for at least some portion of these sightings. Who knows what other creatures could theoretically cause something similar to getting poked with a stick?
Well, what's interesting, yeah, is the fact that there's like
Or if you're
not a ton of
Like in
consistency.
a dark wood and you get hit by a stick, because they are abundant.
Yeah, well, I was.
And then you see something terrifying in the distance, like a wild animal and an assortment of vaguely lit branches and brambles.
What a hater of facts, man.
There you go. It's never gonna leave you. Somehow I made that stick, and I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Stick Indian.
Oh no.
Here's my issue. It's that so many of the things are like folk tales, you know, like or lore of some sort from like a different like area. It seems like, you know, like you get the night marchers and the stick Indians, and it's like not that you don't.
I feel, but are the see the night
Dude, I
marches
could
are like
totally
an.
set up like
I
an
feel
experiment for
that the-
mine.
An experiment for yours.
Yeah, I would actually like to hear
Okay,
what the
so,
heck
like,
this is.
do you-
I feel like this can't be serious though.
Yeah.
Genu-
Either can
no.
I. It's gonna go ranting off.
Genuinely, you could probably take like an average size for like a tree branch thickness in trees in a certain area, associate that back to like the general area, and
Yeah,
just a palette of the fucking Kirkland ones. Are we back?
I don't know for how long, but
Well, welcome back to
Part 2 of,
stick Indians.
and you know, not mentioning Jesse.
skeptical
You fucked
about
up on it.
sticks.
Ah, just roll it
although
back
we're not
again.
pricks. We
Flip
wish
the table.
you'd.
So you had a plan about,
us a click.
or not
Sorry.
a plan? What was it?
No, I was talking
Experiment.
about my experiment.
Yes.
Now, if you looked up like the trees native to an area where a tribe was, and you looked up the average like branch width
size?
and then applied that to the general description of the creature in the area, that could help validate my theory.
Austin,
If
so
the
then
size of the
you-
trees match up to like thin and spindly, and
I
then
guess.
larger and
Or
all
maybe
that.
short and stumpy, but
Yeah,
also
maybe
the
there's more
Oh
shrubbery
yeah, all
in
the
an
fir
area.
trees with
I'm
all the
just-
hair on top of them.
I'm just saying.
I'm just kidding too, but
Theoretically, it could be some sort of way to. I'm not saying it's
Okay,
great,
well,
but
how do you explain the man who was missing his fish that a stick Indian took, apparently?
yeah.
Yeah.
oh, I didn't.
You didn't read that part?
Yeah.
That's
No.
It's very funny how we just have like half of us are like, I heard that part. But
Which
not
one
this
was
other."
that from? The,
The
Reddit
first
breakdown?
one,
Yeah.
no.
Was the first one
Yeah.
really?
I'm pretty sure it was the first one, yeah.
Oh God, it was so long ago.
Wasn't it?
Man, this format, we're just, you know what? What a time.
It's called free balling,
Yeah.
and we're fucking ballers, so
Now,
it works.
This is the thing that why I got hooked on, or I shouldn't say hooked, but like what kind of got me onto this was actually Reddit, and they were stories about the woods
Okay.
and like people's like actual experiences in the woods that were really
Right.
creepy. And one of them was they were like, yeah, they were in the Northwest somewhere. I think it was Oregon or Idaho or something like that. And they were like, okay, so we were all out in the woods and we're all going to sleep. And then I kept hearing like a party going on. And these guys kept partying like all night. And, it sounded like there was like horses and people and like, you could hear the fire or whatever. And it was like really, it felt.
Award-winning musical artist Earth, Wind, and Fire.
But like, see, this is why we can't have regular discussions.
Okay, but to be fair, like, okay,
But that's the story's not over.
Right.
But he's hearing this thing and he's freaking. He's not actually freaking out. He's
finds
just kind of like
Wind and Fire.
he wanted to go out. He wanted to go out and or whoever it was wanted to go out and like they're like, what the heck is that? Like like who is up? Like we didn't see anybody around our campsite. We're kind of out in the woods. But he just was like, whatever, I'm just tired. People are gonna do whatever people are gonna do. I'm gonna sit there.
Oh, you
And
wild kids!
It went away after a while abruptly, and then he's like, what the hell? And then it comes back apparently, and he like sits up in the the tent, and one of his friends is like laying there like with his eyes open. He's just like kind of shakes his head. He's like, stick Indians, and then the dude's like, okay, goes back to sleep, and then he finds out what stick Indians were, but it was like one of his friends was like a native. And he was like, don't go out there because they have that thing where they lure you away or something. And then who knows what happens.
Okay, but two things. So one, doesn't it happen when you're solo, right? And that guy was with somebody?
It could be, but I mean, that's all another possibility of just like paranormal shit in the woods.
Right. Well, and then the other was that one thing that I was looking at was just like they lure you with stuff you like. So if you like a certain part, or like if you're the party type or like you like music and stuff, they'll lure you with that to be like, what is that? Let me go see what that is.
Well, yeah, and he was pretty intrigued with that.
Right.
Or I think it was more the fact
So
that he
it
was
could have
like,
been award-winning musical artist.
Stop.
yeah, all of a sudden just like in the middle of freaking the Idahoan woods. Is that what you call it?
I can already
Idahoan?
see Austin just like, whoa, who's playing that smooth jazz out there?
I remember
Yeah.
sunshiny time.
That is provocative. I am going to go.
That's exactly it. Just around the campfire. Well, fellas, that's far too intriguing. I'm going to have to give it a look-see.
But yeah, I mean, like that's so
Poof, gone forever.
that's what got me onto it, and I was like, okay, like because it was kind of like, okay, there's something out in the woods that like tricks you in there, and like I've heard of other things that'll like, there's some sort of, I think there's a Scottish one that like.
Baba Yaga.
No. You just like landed a weird creature, the Ogopogo.
Loch Ness.
The Ogopogo is known for like singing songs and dragging people underwater.
Oh, man.
You ever heard of the Ogopogo?
No.
The Ogopogo.
I thought you were just making it up.
No,
honestly.
that's an actual
I thought you were
Ogopogo is a
talking
real
about
thing.
like some brand of scooter.
It's the
Isn't that a
Ogopogo.
band? I
Yeah,
love
the
them.
Ogo. Yeah, dude, get down to the Ogopogo. The
Yeah.
Ogopogo Bogo.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about. I know
Bogo.
you know what I'm
Buy
talking
one,
about.
get
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Half off on Ogopogos. You want an Ogopogo stick?
Half
No
off on the
go.
Ogopogo stick. Bounce higher, bounce further.
Ogopogo.
Literally crush your friends.
But
So you feel like that's like the scary part of it because you're just like, if I was in the woods and I heard something, I'd be freaked out.
I don't know if I'd be freaked out, but I would definitely go check it out. I'd be like, because I'm not thinking, you're not like, how often around here you just like, something scratching at your door and you hear like, September. Who's playing that outside and then all of a sudden you get dragged away by like little stick hairy people.
Well, who's
trying to
getting
murder
so
you.
funky outside my tent?
I just feel like, like, I don't know. The way it sounded like is that the music that they play would be more like a tribal, like a beating of a drum
Yeah.
or
I
something.
thought it was supposed
that's
to
what
be
the guy
akin
was-
to whoever was hearing it, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but like you would be like, this is really,
So it'd be like an Indian folk rock,
or like you'd
a
hear
Native
people
American
like kind of
folk rock
partying.
cover of.
You listen to some weird stuff. For me, it'd be like hardcore gangster rap, and I'm just like, damn, that is a good party out there.
Put on like massive tribal jumps.
I couldn't imagine, like
Dude,
these ancient creatures, and they're just like, let's recreate like NWA and just be bumping out there. and
I'd
all-
be so in.
It was
Yeah,
just
dude,
like,
I
yeah,
would
we
be
killed
killed.
so
if
many-
I ran into
killed
this
so many
apparition,
20,
I would
like,
be dead. I'd be like,
millennials.
who is playing that lovely rendition of that horrifying track no one's heard?
Oh.
Yeah, like we're all sitting there, and Austin's like just like taking off. He's just like, "Do you hear those awesome blast beats? Like, what the fuck are you saying?"
Where are you going? No, I'll be back. I gotta find out.
yeah. They're like Austin
Gotta follow the blasts.
throughout the woods. Well, the guy was saying how, he said it was kind of like, it sounded, I wouldn't say tribal, but he said he heard horses and people enjoying themselves around fires,
Yeah,
like a lot of things. And like his friend who was already like, part of that culture, because it was like, they were all in high school or whatever, and he lived near reservations. You just have people like that who have that ancestry. And then that one Reddit story also was that guy's grandmother, talking about her
But-
experience too.
Okay, but like the thing with those stories it's like I feel like it's so common today.
It's ambitious authors practicing.
To have a lot. Like you have the whole creepypastas coming along, and people are just like, "Oh, I have a story for you." Like on YouTube, and you can find like endless amounts of people just being
I
like
know.
creepy stories. You know?
Yeah. Now, but the thing is, I don't know. Reddit there's a lot of stuff on there that I've found that just seems like it's like.
But it's also a good place to bait people who are just like, "This is scary."
And
It is, but it
there are
doesn't
things
also
that
mean that
seem
it's not
realistic.
true.
I'm just saying.
Let's go and fact check Reddit. Okay, and now welcome to the new podcast.
Okay, here's my thing. Is that what I was trying to look for? Because this is like the one thing I always look for is visual, like video things of it, of whatever we're looking at for the week.
Yeah.
So like, is there a sighting? Because there's like endless amounts of like, ghost stuff, Bigfoot, whatever, aliens, UFOs. And it's like when there's not anything there, like somebody has like caught, like even the night marchers had like some dude and he's like, "You see those lights over there? Something weird's going on,
Well,
Whatever.
yeah, like I understand. I totally feel you. However, I always wonder because so then on the other
All
end of
the light
spectrum,
touches is evil spirits.
on the other side of the continent, you've got the Appalachians, and there's a lot of like I was watching these ghosts. I don't know, it was ghost something or other. It wasn't actually a ghost show, but it was like one of those like
God, I hope it was called
Paranormal.
Ghost something or
Nah.
another, because that'd be the ghosts something or another.
that should be the name of the podcast.
ghosts and something. But like for the way we like treat these topics, I feel like that should be more of how it goes.
We need to make a really crappy Twilight Zone intro.
Yeah.
Man, and then we just like put the camera in a drawer and close it.
Like do 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 do. Just static. From
There you
then.
go.
I
What were you saying? Go ahead.
I was just okay. So I was watching that show, and so the other thing was that they were like, we were pretty sure that we were being like, they had like, they were like, okay, here's a trail.
Okay.
That apparently like the Native Americans are like, okay, this is Pukwudgie territory, what have you, whatever, and they're walking. It's like a 3-mile track or something, and they're moving between all along this. They're walking up and down it all night, and at some point they had like
Pukwudgie this way.
they had all these like IR cameras and trap cams, and I remember they saw. They found like it was like a radar. I don't remember. It was like a radar blip, and they're like something big's out there. And then they caught like this like mist off the trail that was basically where the blip
They
was.
catch it.
In the camera.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, like with the
in
fucking,
a cage.
Yeah.
Get in there.
They caught a mist.
This is brought to you by Ghostbusters Afterlife in theaters sometime.
Also sponsored by Sierra Mist.
Oh, don't tell Sierra Mist that we
The
said
crisp,
that though.
refreshing flavor
Yeah,
of...
make sure you bleep that out.
Yeah.
Aren't they? Do they still exist? Can you still get a Sierra Mist?
You can still get a tab, man. You can still get a Sierra Mist.
You can get a Tab Cola.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't know
Whoa.
that?
I don't go down the soda aisle.
You can still get Crystal Pepsi in some gas stations.
Yeah, I've seen it. If you want high amounts
No,
of
that's
sugar.
crystal meth.
No.
Yeah, dude,
Both.
You
been to a
can
truck
also
stop?
get that, but I don't think it has a price tag.
The one thing I want
just
back is
gotta
Pepsi
know.
Blue. That's all I want. Pepsi Blue.
Oh my god.
Dude, I want the
why?
original Pitch Black come back.
I don't know what that is.
The
The
No,
movie
I like
with
Pitch
Vin
Black.
Diesel? Good movie.
Mountain Dew.
Yeah, actually, I did
Yes.
enjoy that.
Heck yeah. Give me a... Screw redoing Disney classics. Give me Pitch Black.
Just redone, but like it's like, man, Riddick, you look a little bit older.
It's going to be Dwayne The Rock Johnson. It's
No, you make it. Now you
And
got to
Jason
invert it.
Statham.
Take the live actions and make them cartoons. That's what you got to do.
okay,
Did you
but
see
that'd
they
be
did
so
have
good.
one of those with the? It was like
I think you're right.
In
They did
between,
do
it was
one,
like
yeah.
it was Pitch
Animatrix.
Black. It was Pitch
They're in
Black.
like a mine or something, right?
I can't remember.
Like
There's
it's
some
like the
sort of like
second one, pretty much.
Yeah, there's like it's like a weird ship or something that he's. I just remember the scene where he's like floating through a spot, or like he's like floating, and he looks really. His jaws. It's like still Vin Diesel, but it's very like, caricatured.
Yeah, like
And they're like-
cartoon, like
What
hard
about
edges.
the Chronicles
Yeah.
of Red Stickinins?
Oh my god.
Well, back to the anyway. Okay, so they caught this weird mist.
Right.
It was whatever, and they were like, "Oh, it's the Pukwudgies," and like all their camera equipment. It was like ghostly. And that's another weird thing is that it's like, okay, so now you're thinking that maybe it was just like spooky Native American stuff in the woods, in the Appalachian trails or wherever they were. that's interesting because it's like, okay, so you've got all these like different. It's like it's a Bigfoot, it's a little creature, it's a stick monster running through the woods, or is it ghostly too? And that's the thing with like all of these things is there's so many. Yeah, like there's such a wide variety, and I feel like it might possibly be
They're
just
taking
like,
the shotgun method to their test. They're just like, how
What-
many of these should I fill
what's
in?
interesting to me is like,
Ghostly.
why would all of these things have like
Evil.
a similar?
Fuzzy.
Stop.
Why would they all have a similar story about a thing? Like, I know that it doesn't all consistently
Twig
line
ass.
up, but these things could be potentially just as, weird trickster spirits. And if they've been around for as long as they could, they might be able to, manifest in different ways and, show themselves in different lights.
Well-
Who knows if they're even the same thing?
Are you trying to say what I think you're trying to
What
say?
am I trying to say, Austin?
That we all need to put on the glasses and see that we are being controlled by an alien subspecies
Oh my God.
hidden around us at all times.
No.
He just went like full Alex Jones.
Yeah, he did. He's
It's
about
really,
to lose it.
what's really sketch though is that all the stuff is like Alex Jones has been like yelling about is kind of like been happening. We have international Hollywood pedophiles. There's those human pig hybrid, not a human pig, but the pig monkey hybrids.
Chimeras or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, we've been doing that illegally for a long time.
Exactly, and Alex Jones told us.
Yeah, but don't you feel like that maybe he just like took something, for example, that happened long ago? that's
May
just,
have
like,
read like a theory paper in the 80s and
something
then been
like
like,
that.
We're going to be making big monkey hybrids,
But
and
at the
it's
same
going to be
time,
frightening and
there's
evil.
so many people that are just like, haha, whatever, and then this actually happens, and you're like, well, unfortunately, it's validating a lot of this crazy talk.
I mean, he could be playing the super long game.
This has nothing to do with Alex Jones. Stop taking this.
I'm just saying that.
I made a joke using the Alec Jones impression.
I know.
Y'all went, you went, wow.
Well, even I don't know. Okay, to touch a note on that, it's just kind of like I think he just kind of lucked out. That's all it is. Like
Yeah.
you say a bunch of stuff, and then like The Simpsons, where it's just
Eventually,
like
it's gonna stick.
right, where it's just like The Simpsons can predict the future.
Well,
It's
have
just
you
like,
seen? Actually, that should be.
No,
that
stop.
should be
No,
a fucking-
stop it.
I'm gonna
No.
make that an episode.
Okay, I'll be honest. The escalator thing with Trump was hilariously dead on. That's like spooky.
What
but
didn't they have the one where you just touching the weird globe?
Who,
the
Trump?
Weird, no, yeah, the Trump with the
with
the
the
Saudi Arabian
I
guys.
haven't seen that
their
one.
weird glowing orb. That was an interesting.
Yeah, dude, that was, like,
political
right out of,
event
like,
happened
one that
this
was,
year,
like-
or last year.
I saw some guy who memed it with like he put Saruman in the picture, and he's like, it doesn't even look weird. And then
I
it
saw
also
people
kind of
just
reminds
putting
me of
Goku on the bottom of it.
yeah, or like what is it, Boss Nass from the Empire or the fucking Phantom Menace or whatever, just holding that stupid little electro ball. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go again.
Back to Stick Indians.
Yep, back to Stick Indians. Man, these guys are really hard to, keep sticking them around.
It's because we keep trying to talk about them. They're trying to deter us so they don't have to march all the way out here.
That'd be creepy. First of all,
all of a
super
sudden,
creepy.
dude, just imagine
Yeah.
like your car doesn't start. All of a sudden, there's like a stick shoved through the tire.
I just got a new tire.
Yeah. So you should have believed Austin.
Oh, that would fucking suck.
It's Jesse because he saw that
Yeah.
we did one.
Yeah,
without him.
he's looking through the window. He's like,
Fuck those
fuck
guys.
those guys. It's like, it's really funny because that's exactly what he'd say.
He's gonna love this one.
I don't know. It's just like it's too. I don't know. It's too like it's our thing. It's not like how come nobody else has really seen Stick Indians in a kind of sense. Or like
Or it's not like a bigger thing. It's not like people.
Yeah.
Everybody's like
Wer
Bigfoot.
das Stick
Everybody's like
Indians?
Bigfoot.
right. Right.
Everybody's like even white people are like Bigfoot.
Even Asians are just like Yeti, whatever.
Yep.
But like Stick Indians is too, like it's our culture. Oh, you're on our domain. That's what it is. I'll tell you. Nobody's been like, I saw this weird, like thin looking creature, and like they just see it a bunch.
That's the other thing too, though, is that I don't think that they're very like. It's one of those things that's like you never really see them.
So it's like another dimensional kind of thing.
It might be. It's one.
Portal.
No.
Hey, that only happens in certain places,
Yeah.
like hot spots,
Like imaginary
electromagnetic.
holes.
You say they're imaginary. That had the most scientific research out of all of the topics that I've found. And y'all, we have to revisit that. I'm sorry, we have to. They only saw it through the infrared spectrum.
You blindsided us, man. That's why.
I wrote 2,000 words for that one. 2,000
That was the
words.
problem. If you want to read, that's what you should do. You should do an episode where you just read all the facts beforehand. It's like
God,
this week, and then you just give a big
This
preview.
week on the breakdown, I'm just going to read you my facts.
Actually, what we should do too is like
Austin
actually watch
hates
that.
this segment.
Yeah,
Just-
even you're embracing it. This is good. This is good. It's stuck.
Austin agrees.
You're so mad at yourself.
Yeah, it's like, damn it, they got me.
You play along,
Yeah.
and all they do is just keep giving you shit.
What is that? Is that smooth jazz coming from outside? I gotta go, guys.
Like, we lost him again, dude. That would be kind of a funny horror movie though, where the whole
Man,
time
I
they're
seem
just
like
like
Jesse didn't
they're
come, man.
going
You
out.
guys are just bullies.
I do hate to say sometimes when you get started on him and you're just like, he's not gonna like. He just keeps on getting.
Railed.
Yeah.
Stick Indians.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're spooky and they're pokey, mysterious, maybe oaky.
Austin is definitely not a believer, it sounds like.
No. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, like, overall, I also would not consider myself, like, totally into it. Mostly because, like, okay, there's parts of it that I do think are kind of like, okay, you know, one, there's a huge lore throughout, like, native, like, even though it's like, you know, Pukwudgies over here, Stick Indians over here, you know, there's all these tricksters, and you're like, okay, maybe it's like a weird global or, like, you know, national.
Well, what it reminds
story.
me of is like Loki, you know, like not even just the like Marvel Loki, but like just like in Greek mythology, like the trickster.
Yeah.
Like there
I
always
think I
seems
made
to
a
be.
Loki joke a long time
Stop
ago.
it.
I love Loki. I wanted to make that a gamer tag. Low-key Loki.
I swear that's somewhere in here earlier, maybe.
You
We'll
probably
find
just
out
thought it
later.
and you're just like, mm-hmm.
I hope I said it. We'll see.
But that's, I don't know, like, you know, like everybody has their kind of thing, you know? And
Like I said, everybody has a spiritual explanation for the a-hole who poked them with a stick.
I don't think that's what happened, man.
Yeah, I think that too. I don't think it that too because it's just like
I'd
the
put
fear,
a shiny nickel down that at least one of them is
the
based
fact
off
that they
of
won't
that.
talk about it. It's like one of those like weird bad. Like it might just be. Like,
Could have been
okay,
a
it's, like,
really
bad
mean
juju.
dude poking people with really big sticks.
No. Well, I think it's one of those things where it's so fear.
No.
Like, what I remember the first time I watched The Exorcist, my first thought was always just like, I better not think of like demonic presence or a demonic
'cause
presence is gonna come in.
Yeah, yeah. I also thought that, or like felt kind of similar to that. Like,
I
except
think.
for me, it was the weird cave in Aladdin.
What? What?
I was always terrified that. all
Don't
of a
let
sudden
the
just
talking
out of my
tiger
floor would
cave
just, like,
into your...
Yeah. You,
Hey, dude, whatever.
what?
It freaked me out, dude.
Just like if I talk about it too much, an old man will approach me telling me about a lamp.
Yeah, no, it's not even that part. It's more just like the cave just exploding out of nowhere and just like eating me or something.
He's seeing it like a graboid from Tremors. Like
Yeah.
it's just going to...
Yeah, dude, no, that actually like legit. But that was like, you know, between like 3 and 5 got me pretty good.
Then you'd just be
I get what you're
chilling in
saying.
a treasure cave until you manage to escape on
Don't
your
you
new
remember
friend,
dude,
the
when
rug.
everything melted and
It's because the
burned
monkey
down?
touched something.
Because he
man.
touched the
Yeah.
big
I know,
old
but,
gem. You can take
like I
anything
wouldn't
but
touch
the
something in
gem.
that thing. Stick Indians.
Yeah.
Do you think a stick Indian can touch the gem?
I don't know, but anyway, enough about my childhood fears.
Okay, but here's the one thing I also want to know is what did they look like? Because the one thing I found was like very skeletal, but like it seemed like they took on many forms.
Yeah, well,
What's
yeah. Keep going.
What seems to be the main form of these?
That's the
things?
thing. There's not really because like what's interesting is like it's like stick Indian could mean how they look or you know the weird activities in which they
Use
you know,
sticks.
Yeah, right. And so that's what's kind of weird about that part of the lore. But like, I just think that most of the stories are. It's like there's got to be a reason why they had like. And have you ever heard the podcast Lore?
Yeah.
He's really good about like, you know, he's like, okay, here's all the spooky stuff, and you're like, oh god, and he's like, here's some like realistic like ideas as to why this is like,
Right.
you know, a thing, and like maybe there's some sort of like they all needed a story or like you know,
Behold, all
something
the
in-
spooky stuff.
well, like because what I really wished I could have found, and I think I might have found some of it, but I can't remember any of it. Is the like why, or like the reason what those things were actually like what they were doing it for. Like it's like, oh, don't hurt the earth, or like,
So they're creatures of earth.
kind of, yeah. They're like
Greenpeace.
I'll find it.
I get kind of what you're saying. They're just kind of like the defenders of earth, if you will.
Sort of, but they're more like dicks.
Right. They're just like tricksters, if you will.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just
Captain Planet.
Heart.
Yeah, like
Wind.
I mean,
their true name is Steyehama.
Well, you just summoned them. God damn it.
And it says spirit hiding under the cover of wood.
My God.
Some believe that call them by their true name in public is enough to warrant attack.
Well, this may be our final podcast.
Stick Indians. Okay, here it goes. One of them says, now this one says, Stick Indians are large, hairy, and Bigfoot-like creatures. But to the Cayuse and Yakima tribes, Stick Indians are small and more dwarf-like.
Yakima?
Yeah, Yakima.
See, and that's what like really confused me because like one, if we're assuming that they're like Bigfoot, how do you know you just didn't see a Bigfoot and just decided to be like, it's a Stick Indian? You know, like I'm calling it a Stick Indian.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Assuming that, there's a Bigfoot
That's
around.
the thing, too, because there's
See, I'm
so
willing
many.
to believe more some sort of remnant
Oh, yeah, this is the one that they were telling about the app. You just have to click
magical
out of the app.
party evil spirits.
But like, well, because it's got like, it's like, oh, some of them are like dwarf-like, and you're like, okay, so maybe some of them are just like, they're letting on to the same. They're like, oh, the Bigfoots are like, yeah, the defenders of the woods. Because I've also heard that like Bigfoots are considered like the older brother.
I see what you're saying.
Native Americans,
Right.
And so they kind of revere it as like a spirit of the woods,
Right.
And
It's not actually an animal, but it's more of like a
they
protector or some sort.
Yeah, some kind of thing like that. And this one,
Now it's sounding
they
like
might
a
also
Pokemon.
You're so funny. I don't know. They're like, okay, so the Stick Indians are nocturnal.
Stick Indians, protector of forest, Pokemon.
Yeah, here's a. Okay, yeah. So then this actually references the one that I found about the Stick Indians on Reddit.
Good
Says,
source.
the author continues with the story, explaining about some of the things that her family's experiences when they would go hunting.
I saw the no sleep, and I was like, "Isn't that a podcast?"
No.
I saw that.
That's just like scares. Anyway,
that's
But
what.
Now I've heard
I
other
saw
ones about that on
Little
like
Miss
those
Bite.
ones in the woods, and it's like those ones seemed more legit because they're just like, well, not really that creepy, but I was out in the woods and then my friend was like, "Don't go out there. There's Stick Indians."
Okay, but like that's the same thing that I was telling you with the gnomes, man. Like the gnomes in the South American culture is like they're playful.
Why is it never like Army Corps of Engineers people who are like out on the side of mountains for months who have these experiences? Why is it always, dude?
I don't feel like it is dudes.
Yeah,
though.
I think that the only one that's really, because it sounds like for the most part it's people who are connected to that sort of like spiritually in ways. Well, like,
or like
that
the
one.
Native Americans.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like it has that part in their lore, and like maybe what it is just like they experience paranormal stuff, and then, it's like, oh, we'll attach it to the Stick Indians because they're just like naturally like that. You might have like a regular poltergeist,
Or
Right.
it could just be,
because like
A
obviously
thing.
those are.
but they're prone to the thought of that. Maybe they were told stories a lot. Maybe it's culturally important, and it seems more appropriate to assume it's that than something else that would make.
All
Kinda-
we know is that there's weird shit in the woods, and I think that people have always thought that.
I mean, yes.
So are you
there's
saying
weird
it's
stuff
kind of
everywhere.
like the story you tell your kids so that they're good, and like the boogeyman doesn't come?
I mean, that could have been one portion of it, but I mean, like it's a cultural story that's been passed down,
Right.
and it's to the point where in your head it's been taken seriously. It's a thing. It's not just a folklore, a folk story or something. It's a true blue thing.
Right.
We should probably wrap this up. So if you want to,
I thought you were gonna be like, I didn't hit record.
now
Well,
you're making me second guess myself, but I'm just like looking,
Perfect.
and it's like there's no battery in there, and I'm like, huh?
All right.
okay.
Let's hit it.
Well, screw that thought. Wrap up. Let's rock.
All right.
Well, I mean, now that Patrick's summoned them, so
They're on their
Ooh.
way. So I guess
smooth
we'll find out.
jazz. You ready? I hear it outside.
Oh.
Why are you hearing the smooth jazz? Have you been lying
What
to
is
me
that?
this whole time?
What's going on out there? I think. What?
That's probably Paulette.
You know, yeah. It's just like Paulette's just out there like,
She's just fucking with
yeah. There's sticks all over our cars.
Yeah.
All right.
So on that note, I'm not entirely sure if any of us are too terribly frightened. I feel like we all kind of accept that this is
Folklore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing more than
We'll report
cultural
back
folklore.
in a week if something happens.
Yeah, you know. You never know.
We'll catch you next week unless we get poked really hard with a stick. Thank you.
You definitely
for
will get
joining
poked
us.
tonight.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh.
Cut it. End it.